EFCC, voila, it be like person will be say they cash with another man wife will be saying na still another person. Husband. See voila. So now my question now is where in day waiting they happen? Not true. You get waiting they hide because FCC don't declare Yahaya wanted. Me not come like saying me they talk because this thing, all this old thing, these things the way waiting they come out in 2024 is just like the wood where be say that the roots.
They declared former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, wanted for alleged money laundering to the tune of 80 billion naira while in office. In a statement posted on X, the Anti-Graft Commission urged anyone with useful information on the former governor's whereabouts to contact the commission or the nearest police station. On Wednesday, some EFCC operatives laid siege to Bello's Abuja residence, which was later visited by Kogi State Governor Usman Ododo, who was said to have whisked the former governor away as the EFCC stood by and watched. Well, let's take some reaction. Again, this is from Daniel Wala, who wrote, EFCC versus Yahaya Bello. Unless EFCC and Yahaya Bello are both doing simulation for a movie about the agency and former governors, the press statement captioned "wanted" is not necessary. 1. You were at his residence to effect arrest. You failed to apply ACJA, or better still, what you did to Okorocha at his residence. 2. You knew who came and whisked him away. You allowed it. 3. Both him and the incumbent governor have security details from police and SSS who must report activities including the whereabouts of their VIPs to their commands, meaning his whereabouts is not hidden. 4. You knew police and SSS have surveillance instruments for geo-tracking and geolocating, yet you failed to approach. You are asking the general public to give you information about someone you have every reason to know his whereabouts. Please do your job. I mean, apparently the police has, released a statement saying that they have withdrawn all of his SSS and all of the police detail from former Governor Yahaya Bello. And I think Daniel Bohala's reaction there was quite apt. But in the meantime, counsel to Yahaya Bello said his client was in his home state of Kogi when operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission besieged his Abuja residence on Wednesday. The lawyer made the remarks during the hearing of the alleged money laundering case against the former governor and the chief of staff to Usman Ododo and others charged in the case. Yahaya Bello was absent from court, of course. The lawyer said Bello was waiting the judgment of a high court in the state, which restrained the anti-graft agency from arresting him when he learned that his Abuja residence had been evaded. I mean, this is classic, isn't it? So many reactions. I'll take one last reaction as reactions flood social media. An old video showing former Kogi State governorship aspirant Dino Milaye mocking Yahaya Bello has resurfaced online in the video. Dino predicted that the next president for Bello after the government house is jail. Let's take a look.
Do you know Yahaya Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba? I know Yahaya Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Do you know GYB máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba? We know GYB máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Ìwọ Yahaya, you Yahaya, kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Ẹni tí mo bẹ́ lórí tó ń ṣẹ̀yìn wúyẹ́, kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Àti ẹkún ìyá ní ọjẹ́, ẹ̀rọ, àti ẹkún ìyá ní ọjẹ́,
We all know the famous Ntor. This was back in 2018. You're cracking up. Never ever get old. I mean, but how classic.
Let me just say that since Dino Milaye didn't win his ambitions to being governor, he might consider a career in entertainment and maybe skit. He started making even in music. He should also go into music.
Someone at the cinema where you're
excellent. Okay, so now going to the Yahaya Bello story, Daniel Boala raises some very pertinent questions, and I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and that's what we're discussing in terms of how difficult really was it for the EFCC EFCC to have arrested him yesterday. We've seen when, well, not yesterday, when they invaded his home. We've seen when they were very adamant or very, when they had the will to do so. And even when he involved them illegally, some might say, opening up the roof of a particular former governor.
Oh, which was a corruption.
Yeah, they actually did that. So what was stopping them from doing that? Then the governor, that's Governor Ododo, is the only one who has immunity. His staff members or the convoy that came with him do not have immunity. I understand that. I mean, one of the reasons why they restricted was that, number one, the optics would have looked bad to see EFCC and a sitting governor, you know, in a tussle, or to even get violent, and some people there might be some injuries that have been incurred. But it will be difficult to imagine that it's hard to locate where Governor Yahaya Bello is.
I mean,
and then in terms of the governor himself, I think it's quite sad that a sitting governor would be said to be harboring a fugitive, or might know the whereabouts of someone who is wanted by the EFCC. The first port of call, let them go to the government house. Let them ask questions around. If he left in a particular vehicle, can they trace where he went to? It cannot be so difficult. And what some people were saying was that, why didn't they put a bit of ransom for him? He would get a lot of leads, anonymous calls as to where they can find Governor Yahaya Bello. But at the end of it all, it is still that big question, what is he running from? Why are you running? Right. He is the white lion. A lion is never afraid to go into the jungle for a fight, or to at least defend himself. So let him do what he's meant to do. Let's not have drama around this.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Nigerian Immigration Service has also released a circular. They are asking for him as well. But I mean, that circular was quite the circular. There was no date of birth on that circular. But they've also declared him wanted. In another development, Abdulaziz Ganduje, son of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, is said to have visited the Kano State Anti-Corruption and Public Complaints Commission on Wednesday to show support for the commission's case against his father. On Tuesday, the chair of the anti-graft agency said the commission is investigating a fresh case where 51 billion naira was allegedly diverted by the Ganduje administration. The commission had earlier filed criminal charges against the former governor over an alleged $413,000 and 1.38 billion naira bribe. The commission said it had assembled 15 witnesses to testify against Ganduje. It's not the first time Ganduje's son will be in the news over issues relating to his family. In 2021, Abdulaziz dragged his mother, Hafsat Ganduje, to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over a bribery and land fraud case. Rufai, I mean, yesterday we took the story of this Bello El Rufai defending his father. Now we are seeing the story of Ganduje's son going to the anti-graft agency to say, I support you.
You see, this one has integrity.
Right.
You know, one thing has to be said about the Ganduje case. It's still under investigation. We all know the kerfuffle that went on in his political party as regards him being ousted, but the political party is fighting back for him and all of that. But he has a case to answer. And that's why, also by extension to the El Rufai case, the El Rufai also has a case to answer when the probe starts. We should be able to ask our governors what they did with our handed resource. Because all we see every time is poverty. And this poverty is consistent with the sufferings a lot of people have because our leaders don't account for anything. Nobody has said he's done anything wrong, but he has a right to be able to answer when they go through the whole legal wrong, and that will happen. As regards the white lion.
The white lion.
The white lion's case. Only God knows the games they are playing with us. Because I've read another conflicting report that said, Yahaya Bello's phone was in Kogi, his phone was left in Kogi, but they tracked him through his aide to the house. They couldn't get in the house and all of that. Then Ododo came, which is against the law, and that's why,
no, we said that
to a large extent, I am
yesterday.
Against immunity clause for politicians. I am against immunity clause for politicians. If we want to give our politicians immunity clause, we can as well go and wake Anini from the dead and forgive him all his sins. I'm against immunity clause for politicians.
Well, the big story for me, Rufai, is really the fact that they are looking for him.
No,
this man has. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I see.
I don't think.
That circular is a disgrace.
I don't think they are looking for him. They constantly put out circulars like this and all of that. You know, we've even had people that have even gone to see the EFCC that they still put out the circular. I think he should just go there with his lawyers and he should start his own case with the EFCC and all of that. So I don't think they're looking for him. I don't think it's become a pin or a needle in this country that they cannot find and all of that. But he also has a right to be able to give accountability as regards how the resources of the people of Kogi State was spent.
Absolutely.
And let's save ourselves all this drama. And we're talking about Rochas. Please. It doesn't justify what was done to Rochas' homes. What EFCC did by going to uproot his roof and everything. You could have invited him. It doesn't justify. There's also a part of the high-handedness of the EFCC that we must have to talk about also.
Someone who has security details attached to him.
Back some of these issues.
Looking for.
Now, let me start with the case of Dino Melaye. You know, skit making is a very popular enterprise in Nigeria now. So the skit makers, they provide very good entertainment. Secondly, Dino Melaye was speaking in that video from a political perspective. You know, he took part in the 2023 gubernatorial elections, and he holds Yahaya Bello, former governor, responsible for, you know, his loss in that process. So there's also politics to what he's saying. But there's something he said that I know he will go to jail. He is not in a position to determine that. He has no, you know, judicial powers. He's not the person in charge of the case. So nobody should take that seriously. Every accused person, you know, has their right to appear in court and to defend themselves. And nobody is a convict, you know, except the court of law says so. That's that about that. The Ganduje story, I think, you know, many people will find it very strange that, you know, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, Ganduje is head of the APC. And yet since 2021, he has it in his own house, a house that he seems not to be exactly in charge of. His own son took him and his wife. In fact, this Abdullahi Ganduje, who went to the anti-graft agency to solidarize, to express support, is actually the biological son of Dr. Ganduje, the chairman of the APC. So people will say, okay, what is going on here?
So what is bad in
that, you know, if there is no peace in the house, so what can, if a man cannot lead, if a man cannot lead,
you want to go to that adage again?
If a man cannot lead, provide leadership in his own house, if he's having conflict in his own household, you know, what kind of leadership can he provide within the larger space? Now, let me go to the White Lions case. Now, I think it's Daniel Bwala, you know, talking about AGJA. The relevant section of the AGJA is section 113 of AGJA. But what that section of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015 says is that you cannot declare a person wanted without getting the leave of court. And you recall that the EFCC had gone to the Federal High Court Abuja, the court of Justice Emeka Nwite. However, one of the points that Justice Nwite said was that, in fact, even if the EFCC does not get a warrant, you know, they can go ahead and arrest anybody and investigate anybody. Well, I've not looked at that part of it. But the issue is that the EFCC is insisting that they have a warrant. However, even when there is a warrant against a person and the person is declared wanted, now, in terms of the person that has been declared wanted, it doesn't mean you are a criminal. What it means is that you are a flight risk. What it means is that you are obstructing justice. Then the responsibility of the general public is that you have a moral obligation to tell that, to report that person to the police or the agency. So, you know, these are the issues there. But as to the bigger issues, you will know that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice made a number of points that nobody should obstruct justice and that the former governor should toe the path of decency and hand himself over to the relevant authorities. And that's where I see something there, because the Attorney General of the Federation must have given the fiat, it's called fiat, to the EFCC to go after the former governor. And I don't think the Attorney General, who is also Minister of Justice, could have acted without the approval of the villa.
Very good.
So, you know, we're seeing a drama that is unfolding. It's an unfolding drama. We can't jump to conclusions yet. But what has happened is that Abdulhamid Mohammed, counsel to former governor of Kogi State, in court, was telling the court that, look, this court, Federal High Court Abuja, has no jurisdiction in this matter. So there is still an unresolved matter of jurisdiction. But the resolution, the decision by Justice Emeka Nwite is that all the parties should appear before the court on April 23. So it's an unfolding drama. There's another matter of April 22 and all of that. But the principle established in all of this is that nobody is above the law.
Absolutely.
Section 308, which grants immunity, Section 308 is not transferable.
Very good.
You know,
we'll take another story.
You cannot rewrite, immunity, and in any case, power is transient.
Fantastic.
That's what everybody should remember.
Let's go. We'll take another story. The founding pastor of Christ Embassy, Pastor Chris Oyakhilome, has become a subject of controversy after a BBC article revealed that he has been pushing vaccine conspiracy theories to his followers. The BBC says it has reviewed dozens of his sermons from 2023 to 2024 and found that the pastor has been spreading anti-vaccine messages, specifically targeting the new malaria vaccine, which is being distributed in African countries. The network also stated that in the last 6 months, Pastor Oyakhilome's company has also produced at least 5 20-minute anti-vaccine documentaries, which were broadcast in church services or shared on his video streaming platform, evading social media companies' policies against anti-vaccine content.
And now recently, Bill Gates and his foundation have said that mosquitoes are the most dangerous and destructive elements or insects in the world. Well, the only reason he said that is because they are producing the most dangerous and the most evil. We've been living with mosquitoes in sub-Saharan Africa for a long time. We don't think so. We don't think so. These mosquitoes have lived with us. So they say that malaria is the biggest killer in Africa. How do they get the numbers? Those are the numbers they give them at the UN. They're not true.
I have to say, this is quite dangerous. This is really, really dangerous. I mean, he was also the one that was saying that he raised 50 people from the dead. I wish we had a lot of time to discuss this, but in another development. A video circulating on social media showed the moment an unidentified cleric wielding an AK-47 rifle fired a gun inside a church during sermon. The footage has sparked concern among many Nigerians. Let's take a look. This is unbelievable. I can see the shock in your face. You are our pastor. That's why I have to go to you on this story before we end. What's happening there?
I don't want to bring back the incident that happened in Abuja.
Yes,
the
same thing happened.
But this, I mean, that he's apologized. Now we see someone else coming out and actually shooting.
Yes.
When non-state actors have access to go, where did he get the gun from? He has to be.
Where's the church? Yes, I thought it was important to highlight this so that the security forces will see this.
They should arrest him immediately. He has to go. What is going on in this country?
But it's not just him. It's also the comment of Pastor Chris Oyakhilome. The security forces also have to get into this because it's against the social media rules. It's against anything. I mean, look at this anti-malaria medicine that they brought out. He's already discrediting it. We'll take our final story under entertainment. In Madison Square Garden, New York, where Afrobeat superstar Davido electrified the 19,000 capacity arena on April 17th, making him the third Nigerian artist after Burna Boy and Wizkid to headline the famous arena. Davido dazzled the fans with a collection of his hit singles, including from his record-breaking 4th album,